Hello and happy Saturday. We hope whatever it is and wherever you are, you're having a great Saturday. I'm Paul Jameson, your host with the Jameson family of companies. That's realty, property management, and property investments. We're glad you're tuned in with us, and we're excited to be spending Saturday afternoon with you. And, it's fun for me because when I talk to folks that have been listening to us for like forever, 13 years or so. I know Marty has been on with me for almost since the very, very beginning. I think he came 6 months after we started, and you're going to hear some from him today. Sandy, you've been with me for what, 9, 8?
A lot of years, but I can't tell you how many.
Okay. All right. Well, you're 26 years old, so 18 plus.
Right.
Yeah, carry the one. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, Sandy Dickinson with Cross Country Mortgage has been with me a long time. It's so fun to meet people and they say, hey, you remember the show where you talked about cats, or Marty talked about cats? And you remember the show where Sandy was boozy but bougie? Do you remember all those things? And TJ's over here laughing because he's been with me long enough that he has such a history now on some of this crazy stuff. So it's funny when I look back. I have so many great memories, so many great callers, so many great people. Thank you, Charlotte and Charlotte region, North South Carolina, for the blessing of spending Saturdays with you and for the opportunity to serve the community with you. So thank you for that. This show is about real estate. And if you're just hearing us for the first time, you probably won't understand any of what I just said. But what you will know is we're going to talk about real estate. And later on in this show, Marty, Ivy, and Sam with Ivy Exterminating are coming on to talk with us about what's going on in this season. And so we're excited to spend that time with them too. But Sandy, before you get to your mortgage update, the summer is over, right? And there are just a lot of things that go on outside, and it seems to go on fast, right? The leaves seem to, when they change, they're out, right?
Right.
And that turn happens, and the next thing you know, either your front yard is loaded with leaves, and you're trying to figure out how to get rid of them, or your grass has gone dormant, all kinds of things are going on, and you just what happened to summer?
I know, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's getting dark earlier.
Yeah, it's like I saw somebody the other day that was talking about how they spray paint their yard. And I'm like, man, that is an awful lot of trouble to have a green front yard. You're not going to do that, are you, Sandy?
No, I'm not. I thought it was a Florida thing. Nope, I'm not. By the time I think about it and get around to it, it'll be spring. It'll be green again.
Yeah. I'm thinking the AstroTurf thing. I'm thinking it. So we need to talk about curb appeal. Right? In these winter months, when you're showing your house, you're getting ready to sell, curb appeal is a big part of it. And what is so big, believe it or not, people, is that first impression. And that first impression is usually around the mailbox. A little bit of flowers, a little bit of color around the mailbox, some fresh mulch. It's a great thing to do to set off the tone of the curb appeal. I tell people all the time, we used to put out pansies. Is that what they're called? The little colored flowers. And then the next thing you know, we put them out, and the deer and the squirrels, the next day, all that were there were stems.
Oh, heck. Sam and the other Ivy guy are going to need to take care of that squirrel problem.
Sam and Marty, we need to talk about them. And the chipmunks. What is up with the chipmunks?
Chipmunks.
Yeah, I know, really. So we bought, believe it or not, we bought silk pansies. They look pretty darn real.
Huh.
And you know what? The squirrels dug them up and they're fake. What? But anyway, I should get points for trying. So anyway, put some color at the mailbox. Get your front yard in shape. Trim the bushes. Don't blow your stuff up against the house. Marty will talk about that. When you blow the stuff up against the house, the BUGSs come. All right. Next, make the front door look amazing, but don't overdo it. So the other day, one of the people at my office put this wreath up in the back of the house. And I came inside and I said, that wreath looks like it came from a funeral. And you know what? It did. She had that wreath from her mother's funeral. You know how those wreaths look? Don't put those on your house.
They're very pretty.
They're beautiful, but they belong at the funeral. They're not for fall. Get a nice fall wreath. This is a true story. I said, that looks like it belongs at the funeral. She put her head down and she said, yeah, it came from my mother's funeral. I was like, dang, I called that one. Power wash once the leaves are gone. Clean the gutters. Remember, plants in your gutters is not considered gardening. Garage doors, the prices have gone through the roof. The garage doors can make a huge impact on your house and the way that it looks. But the prices have doubled over the last 2 years and lead time is 12 to 16 weeks. I just can't believe it. Get the old one, paint it. It's got a dent in it. We're getting ready to try to do this. We're going to use the dent wizard guy to see if we can work on that one. Last, before we do the mortgage update, effort in the yard beats no effort at all. If you put out seed and straw, don't think it doesn't matter. A little bit of effort goes a long way. And last, Sandy, what is the highest return item on the exterior of the house that you can improve?
The roof.
Good guess, but no. TJ, what do you think?
The mailbox.
Close.
Oh.
That was a close second. That's like within a fraction. Front door, highest return on any item you can purchase. Front door. Front door.
Yeah.
All right. And last, make sure the locks work, will you? If you're going to show the house, make sure we can get in. I had that happen to me again this weekend. Couldn't get in. Anyway, Sandy, how about that mortgage update?
Okay, so let's talk about housing prices. The Case-Shiller said they were up about almost 20%. Now keep in mind that that's a 2-month lag because the FHFA housing price appreciation for conforming loans was 19.2. We don't see them come in lower than Case-Shiller recently. So this could be a tipping point in the continued pace of appreciation. So we'll still see increases in housing prices, but it looks now like they're going to be coming at a little bit slower pace. Because let's face it, higher rates, higher prices, people do have their limits. So good news, that will mean more inventory for people to buy. We did see that home sales were up about 8% this last month. So that's all good news. Rentals, on the other hand, are up 16% year over year. And if they stay on pace, they will be up 22% by the end of the year. So if you're thinking about buying, it's a good idea because those renewals are up 6%. And if you buy, your payment will stay about the same. So if you're interested in purchasing, and if you want to see if you can buy, then just give me a call at 704-577-0144.
Sandy Dickinson, Cross Country Mortgage, 704-577-0144. More to come with Marty and Sam Ivy at Ivy Exterminating. We never know what those guys are going to say, but we know we'll have fun. So stay with us. News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. We'll be right back. Howdy, howdy. Happy Saturday. Paul Jameson with the Jameson Companies here. Jameson Realty, Property Management, Property Investments. You're just tuning in after the slew of commercials. We are here to talk to you about real estate. That's what this show is about, and your home. I am excited to share with you. Jameson works with buyers, sellers, and investors. We have a management company and an investment company, and we're here if you're interested in selling or buying. And what a great time to do so. My friends Sam and Marty Ivy are here with Ivy Exterminating, been in our market since 1954, helping us keep our homes free and clear of infestations. Now, Marty, we talked earlier in the show about getting the home ready for fall and different things people tend to do. And, you know, I also talked about the fact that, you know, a little bit of color around the mailbox is good. And so I bought those silk pansies to put out, to put a little color, thinking that the squirrels wouldn't eat it, the deer wouldn't eat it, and I'd be nothing left with stems, and they dug them up anyway.
Really?
So, yeah, really, fake flowers, believe it or not. So they must be hungry. Anyhow, I don't know how they would be. But one of the things we also talked about is as the leaves fall, people blow them up against the house, deal with them later, and call them hillbilly mulch.
Right.
Well, they can cause some problems, can they not?
They can. And the problem that you got in when you blow that up against the house is not only are you creating an excellent environment for insect infestations, but you're also doing an environment for wildlife.
What do you mean by wildlife?
Well, you get raccoons, possums will make, rabbits will make nests in them. A lot of times the problem that you get into is mulch is really designed not to make the planting beds look good, but they're initially designed to give the planting bed darkness to prevent weed growth. The number two would be to hold moisture into the area for so the plants can survive better during drought times. And number three is warmth in the winter. Mulch gives the plant beds warmth, which are all excellent environments for insects and wildlife infestation. And then the issue that you get into is you get decaying organic matter. And if your home is on a crawl space, that decaying organic matter will be sucked into your crawl space, and that mold or microbial, whatever you want to call it. And then if you've got conditions that are conducive in that crawl space, you then have issues going on in that crawl space.
Well, we don't want any issues in there.
Well, we don't want any issues. One of the things that we see a lot of is this time of year, we get a lot of people call and say, "Oh, I got odors inside my house. It smells like musty odors." And what's
yeah, but didn't you tell me, Marty and Sam, that 70% of the air we breathe comes from there?
Well, at least 40% of the air that we breathe comes from the crawl space.
Okay.
But the interesting thing is this time of year when the humidity levels drop, when they start to drop, that mold or mildew that's in the crawl space will release and come up inside the house looking for moisture. And that's when you hear a lot of people this time of year coming on the next couple of months complaining about they've got microbial growth or mold growing in the showers and those kind of areas. It's because it's migrating up from the crawl space in a lot of cases, and it's going to these wet areas where it can get a source to survive and thrive.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you told me, and we talk about it every year, is this would be the time you'd want somebody to get into that crawl space, right? Because what if there's a plumbing leak? What if there's water getting in through the area, or you've got a mulch buildup and water's coming in through the vents?
Yeah, 100%, Paul, especially coming off our hot, humid summer. Those air vents and floor registers and HVAC lines in the crawl space, if you don't have something in there controlling the humidity, they can find themselves slipping. I went out to a customer's house just this past week who was complaining about hearing something in the crawl space and was looking. They had just had their HVAC line switched out, but due to the high humidity, the HVAC line up at the front of the house had slipped off. Brand new line, brand new floor register, had been freshly taped, but because of that high humidity, it had slipped off and was allowing that gas, kind of where the mold and microbial, like Marty was talking about, coming up into the house. And so the lines hadn't been brand new for more than 2-3 months max. And so you definitely have to make sure somebody is staying in that crawl space at least once, twice a year, so that you're maintaining, because all the problems aren't going to get better with time. They're just going to get worse and be compounded. And those dollar signs aren't going to get any better, especially at the rate we're seeing inflation in our market, with prices of goods and services continuing to go up. You're going to be much better off taking care of problems now than you are waiting and pushing it down the road.
Yeah. Now, again, this is not a quote unquote, I drank the Kool-Aid kind of question, because it's a real question that you can tell a real difference. One of the things Marty has done for me and Sam at Ivy has been, they put dehumidifiers in my crawl spaces. And, you know, the office we have was built in 1877, oldest home in the town. And Marty, we were having all kinds of issues under that space, remember?
I do.
Sam?
Oh, yeah.
And you guys put that, it smelled like grandma, especially when you came in after the weekend, when the house had been closed up.
Right.
And y'all know when I say smells like grandma, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so once you took care of, we put in a brand new vapor barrier, we sprayed the microbial, we sealed the crawl space, and we put in a dehumidifier. What happened?
It got better. Smell disappeared. Air quality got better. Your hardwood floors got better in the house. Well, Paul, we're constantly amazed at the stories we hear, the testimonies we hear from our customers saying that they just had no idea how much the air and the crawl space was affecting the inside living conditions on a day-to-day basis. Some people see their allergy problems disappear. And the more important part with just not even just putting it in there is the ongoing maintenance. So many people, when they buy a house that may already come with a dehumidifier in there, but nobody has ever told them that they have to maintain that dehumidifier. And I was in a crawl space just last week, and I don't think the dehumidifier had been serviced in 3 years. It was a great dehumidifier. It's a $1,400 retail dehumidifier, and the air filter in it was as black as could be. And so we went in there, changed out, cleaned the condensation line, the coils, changed the paper air filter, ran it through some tests to make sure everything was going well. And they're back on the road with a great dehumidifier that's going to bring them happiness and good air quality and protect their crawl space for years to come.
Right. So if you have things crawling around in your house right now, and certainly Ivy is there to take care of it, whether it's termites, wasps, mosquitoes, bugs, whatever the case may be. But I challenge you, if you're out and about right now in your home, or you're sitting at home listening to the radio, and you're seeing your floors begin to come uneven, if you have laminate floors over top of wood, or if you are reaching down and you feel your hardwood floors, oh, you guys, and
that's not good.
And they're cupping, meaning that they're not even. They need to call you, Marty Ivy, I swear.
That's illegal.
You need to go to the YouTube channel and see what this guy does to me every time we're on there. All right, so you reach down and the floors are uneven. You need to call Ivy Exterminating. I'm going to do it. 704-334-1616 or bugivy.com. Woo! Going to get them some of them bugs from them, and they're going to kill them.
Woo!
This isn't a lottery. All right, guys. Oh, I love you guys. Ivy Exterminating since 1954. Jameson Realty 846-DON 846-3663 or on the web at myjamesonhomes.com. God bless. See you next Saturday. The show your real estate today. News Talk 1110 99.3 WBT. Take care.